So now that we have sealed the lace and then thickened the lace, we can actually start making the mold. What we're going to use is silicone plastique. Now, silicone plastique, it has the consistency of cookie dough or clay. And the way you mix it is you're going to use equal parts of part A and part B. One is a catalyst, one is a base, and when you combine the materials, it activates it and starts a process where it's going to cure into a rubber mold. Now, the cure time of silicone plastique is about an hour. That means that you have about 10 minutes to actually work with silicone plastique, applying it to an object. This is a great advantage of silicone plastique over other mold putties. Many of the mold putties available today they cure in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. That means you have 30 seconds or a minute and a half to actually apply the mold making material to your object. I personally don't think that that's enough time, but especially for a project like this. So what we're going to do is I'm not going to mix all of my silicone plastique. I'm just going to take a portion of it, and I'm going to show you why. We're just going to take equal amounts of part A and part B. And you'll notice that one is blue and one is white. There's no magic to the colors. The only reason why they're different colors is so that you can tell when you have mixed them. Right now, you're seeing a lot of white streaks, and you know that you have to mix it more in order for the two materials to combine well. Now, you're looking for a uniform color, and when I see no white streaks, then I know that I'm ready to go. So, when making a lace mold, what you want to do is I just kind of elongate the silicone plastique, and the first area that I'm going to apply it to is actually the side of my thickened lace. Sometimes if you just apply a mold making material over the top of an object, when you push it down along its sides, that's really an area where you're going to trap some air. And so what I like to do is I just like to pull it out into a strand, and I like to push it sideways right up against the actual side of my thickened lace. And I'll just go around again, and I'm pushing from the bottom inward, and that tends to grab the air, push it upwards. Now, the board I'm working on is a flexible chopping mat. You can find these in any store. I cut this one in 4 equal pieces because I'm working on a small project. It's really nice because you can take your project and put it on a shelf in order to cure it. Another great advantage is that you can look at the bottom. You can see how well you've done if you trapped any air and if you have to make any corrections. Now, once we've applied the silicone plastique to the perimeter, what we're going to do is we're going to take the rest of the silicone plastique, and once again, we're going to mix it. Now, silicone plastique is food grade. It complies with FDA regulations concerning contact with food. And so it's an excellent mold making material if you want to make molds for food, but it's also a very strong, reliable mold making material for hobbies like polymer clay, candle wax, cement, almost anything that you would want to cast into a mold. What I like to do is I like to put the silicone down, and I'm not so concerned about covering as much as I am working silicone plastique into the details. Now you'll notice that I'm always bringing new material behind the leading edge where I left off. And this is really important. If I were to take more material and just overlap my leading edge, I always run the risk of creating a line there and trapping some air. So I apply my new or more silicone plastique behind the leading edge where I left off, and then I use that new thickness in order to push the material forward. I want it to creep over my design like a wave, and this blob-like growth of silicone over the surface of my detailed project tends to push the air out of the details. And that's very good, because if you trap air in the details, the silicone plastique is unable to fill those details, and then you're not going to get a very good copy or duplication of those details. So you can see now that I have covered the entire mold, the entire lace. And this is definitely not thick enough. I mean, you have to make the mold about 1/4 of an inch thick in order to have good strength and usability of the mold. With the excess silicone plastique that I have, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shape it generally in the shape of my project on the board. And then what I like to do is I like to lay it down just one end first. And again, in a way, not trapping air, I lay it down on top of my project, sort of like this. And whenever you do that, you're pushing the air out so you don't have some massive bubble trapped between these two layers. Now, I'm taking this thickness, this new material, and I'm pushing it over from the center to the sides. Because not only do I have to thicken the top of my molds, but I must make sure that my sides are also of an appropriate thickness. You know, the side of your mold is something that is used quite a lot, and it's really the part of your mold that you flex the most. So you always have to take care of that. Now you see how I kind of pushed it over and then pressed it down, and now what I'm going to do is just kind of straighten that out. I'm just going to come from the bottom, and I'm pushing the perimeter bottom of the silicone plastique back towards my project, and you can see what a nice shape this is starting to take, and it reflects the shape of the object that I'm duplicating. And you know, the silicone plastique, even after all this time, it's very malleable. I can still take time to make a very good mold. Again, I can turn it upside down and I can check and see what kind of thickness I've got, and it looks really good to me. So, all I'm going to do now is just kind of shine it up, and I rub it out. Now, the mold's done. Right now, if I put my fingernail in there, you can see that it leaves indentations, okay? That is a sign that it's not cured. I'm going to let this set at 70 degrees. Silicone plastique cures in about an hour.